Welcome to the Fantasy Football Clown Show. Week 5 is in the rearview mirror. I can't believe it. I'm Ed. We have Justin along with us tonight in the studio. And we're going to break down all the things that were in Week 5 and everything that's going on around the Clownhead Nation. Hit the like button. Hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time that a new video drops. And we're happy that you joined us for this ride here this week. First, we're going to jump right into it with our DraftKings tournament, and that's the first thing we try to break down. And, of course, I'm pretty excited this week because I won this thing, and I even made a last-minute change, but we'll get to my team. I had a 182.84 this week. So what did you think of my build, Justin?
I thought it was pretty smart. You went with Josh Dobbs at your quarterback position, which I did the same. Breece Hall, same here. But you went with David Montgomery at running back. Jamar Chase finally broke out 3 touchdowns this past week. Beautiful for him, 192 yards. Beautiful. And then you went with Michael Wilson, wide receiver out of Arizona, with 2.8 points. Zay Flowers with 12.3 points. Kyle Pitts, 15.7. Justin Jefferson had a very quiet week this past week, 5.8 points. And you picked the Saints with 24 points. I want to go back up to Chase, and he had 55.2 points this past week, which is greatest game of the year after being quieted most of the year, which is about time for him to finally do something, which I love.
I actually made a mistake. I made a last-minute change on my lineup. I went to Dobbs and Wilson, and I took out Joe Burrow and Wan'Dale Robinson. So if I would have had those two in, I actually would have won a GPP if you add those two guys in. Now, Jefferson didn't do what I expected him to do, but I had a lot of money there. But I was just excited about having a build with Chase and Jefferson, and Montgomery, who was John Guru Hanson's number 1 running back. He had him projected as the number 1 running back this week. And I thought, well, so sometimes when I make my builds, it's actually, I look at the fantasy weekly rankings, and I'm like, oh, he's priced way down here, but his projection of points for like just fantasy weekly output was he was number 1 at running back. And so that's what drove me to that. I'm like, oh, that's value for Montgomery. So that's actually how I got to Montgomery. Even there is I was like, wow, he's number 1. Geez, I got to fit him in because he isn't priced number 1, kind of thing. So that was kind of how that worked. But
beautiful.
Yeah, it was fun. So Drew per 13, 181.44. Mac Philly fan, 174.76. He was in the lead a lot of the way I was watching this. The Pack fan, 172.12. And GJL Reed, 155.44. Were in the money this week. So all those teams were in the money. Looking at the Beat the Clown, we had 5 people play Beat the Clown. We kind of downsized this to a 5-person situation. And if we get more people in the tournament, then we'll increase this as we go. But want to just kind of give a sampling of some people that can play me head to head. I of course had the 182.84, but the Cammer 8, 139.04, D-Guz 27, 109.76. Drew per 13, I feel bad, 181.34. So just by a 1.5 is all I won that by. W. O'Brien 93, 108.76, and Rick Topher 113.24. So I'm really hoping that she actually played some other head-to-heads with that lineup, because I would have been really disappointed if I lost money with that lineup. Like if I had 181 points and I lost, so hopefully she played some other people to get that, where it is there. So I was kind of looking over that. This is the first time I've had a clean sweep of taking all of DraftKings, but just want to encourage you guys, get in early. We did actually put a Monday, Thursday slate together. It's kind of a small group of us that were from this slate, but looking to come back next week as well on Sunday for the main slate. So really want to build that. And so, if you're in the community, feel free to reach out to us and we'll get an invite out to you for DraftKings. So, real excited for where that is. We're going to change things up a little bit. Justin's going to kind of introduce the best teams in the redraft league. So if you can take it away, Justin, with the best teams around Clownhead redraft.
Absolutely. So the best ball head-to-head, Group A, King Kong with 296.45.
It looks like King Kong. We didn't have him in the top 2, but he did win week 3. So, this is his second time of being in the top spot.
Then best ball head-to-head, Group B, King Kong again, 34, had a 333.64.
Yeah, and he's sweeping that whole. These are different setups, so it's kind of interesting that with different lineups, he got both of the top spots, and we did have him projected to finish first, but in this sort of situation, but he was the first place finisher also in week 2.
Excellent. So now we go down to the redraft 1, and it was a little surprising here. I was the top scored, JDM 1989 with the 277.86.
Yeah, it looks like you and I have really taken this top spot a couple times. This is your first time in this particular league in the top spot, but this has got the Elite 8 settings, and we didn't have either of us to finish first or second with our projections, but of the 5 weeks, 3 of the 5 weeks, we've been there. That's the top spot.
That's great. With the redraft 3 is myself again, JDM 1989 to 317.84.
Wow. And so you were in the top spot last week as well here, and we also didn't project you to be in the top spot. And this score, 317 points. So you had a big score, and this has the Big 8 setting. So it's kind of cool that you were able to draft a redraft team this year that scored a lot of points in both of our different formats. So, one is a 3-quarterback format, one's a 2-quarterback format. So quite different with how they're set up. So good job with that and getting that top spot. And, back-to-back top spots. You were the top spot in week 4 as well.
So the best ball points only number 1 league, it's Bumskis 293.70.
And I think if we have the standings coming up here, and Bumskis is leading the way, but what I was really looking at here was how much he's leading the way by. Like he's off to 100-point lead, so the rest of us are going to really have to get moving here. We did have him rated as the best team, so that seems to be doing well. In 3 of the 5 weeks, he's been the top spot.
Next is the best ball points only number 2, No Cap Carson with the 309.76.
And so in this particular league, we don't have any repeat champs, or top spots, and we thought the Cameron and Benny Trees were going to be the top spots, here in this particular league, and so just No Cap Carson comes out of nowhere for week 5 and gets that top spot.
Excellent. So now we go on to our Dynasty Clownhead leagues 1 through 5. So Clownhead number 1, Jason Paro won with a 276.08.
And so Jason, we didn't have in the top 2 spots when we did our projections at the beginning of the year, but he came out in week 1 and was the top point getter in Clownheads 1 through 5. So he was the top spot there, and he took the throne from you. You were the top spot last week, Justin. So he's taken over that spot this week.
I'll see if I can get there. It's hit with bye weeks this past week, so we'll see if we can continue there. The Clownhead number 2, the Big Behemoth, 244.37.
And in his case, we didn't have him in the top 2 spots either when we did the projections, but he was a top point getter in this league week 3. We've never had this league create any of the top spots, though. They're the top points out of the whole 1 through 5 divisions.
So the Clownhead 3 Dynasty League, River AD 98 with a 280.04.
And this is a brand new person to the top spot here as well, and we did not have him projected in the top 2 either. We had JSL 111 and Art Cagle 1989. So a new entry week 5 for River AD.
And then we move on to the Clownheads number 4, the Draft Guru with a 274.62.
This feels like a broken record again. We didn't have Draft Guru in any of the top spots in our projections preseason, and the Draft Guru is nowhere to be found in the first 4 weeks. So it comes into the top spot for week 5 in the bye weeks for his first entry here as well.
And now we're going to bring up the top points getter for the Dynasty's Clownheads 1 through 5. So Clownhead number 5, Top Flight Hooker with a 281.07.
One of the things that I am recognizing here about Top Flight Hooker, he was also the top point getter in week 3, and we had him as the number 2 projections when we did our preseason projections. So he was right there, and I'll let you kind of outline his team.
Okay, it looks like here he's already kind of looking to set his lineup for week 6, but I have his week 5 lineup in front of me with Josh Allen 40.01, CJ Stroud 19.91, David Montgomery 34.15. He had Dalvin Cook in with 4.80. Adam Thielen with 30.7. Calvin Ridley 25.1. Devontae Adams, no quiet game, 10 points. Michael Thomas 12.5. Mark Andrews 26.5. Darren Waller with 34.6. Dalton Schultz with the 35, and Alan Lazard 7.8. It looks like he has Demercado on his bench, where he's brought up to his starting lineup, which he's looks like going to be the RB1 there in Arizona now. And he also has the running back for Denver down there on his bench. Had 22.65 points this last week. So he has a couple. Samaje Perine with 17. He has a couple people they can kind of plug and play this next week to help boost his. See if he can get the number 1 score again.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like a team that can do that.
See what he does at that wide receiver position.
Yeah.
Bye week there. So now we're going to go to our Clownheads Dynasty Group 6 through 9. Clownhead number 6, Jerry B. 87 with the 302.25.
And like I said, I feel like we're a broken record. This is our 2 Superflex league, our 1 quarterback 2 Superflex leagues. And Jerry wasn't in the top 2 projected, and he hasn't been in the top spot yet. So he's a newcomer week 5.
Now we go to Clownheads number 7, KJB 2121 with a 302.7.
And KJB 2121, he wasn't part of our top 2 in the projections and hasn't been in the top spot yet. So week number 5 brought a different person.
And so we're gonna go on down to Clownhead number 8, which is our top point getter for the week. Dougie 1727 with a 354.33.
Big score. Yeah, and I'm looking at Dougie. We didn't have him anywhere near the top spot or the top 2 spots in our projections, and he hasn't been a top score getter. You actually have 2 top scores in Clownhead 8, so you're kind of one of the 2 other people that have been in this group. So he's a newcomer to your club.
Excellent. So, Kirk Cousins 29.36, Brees Hall with 44.4, Stephon Diggs 28.1, Devontae Adams 10 points, George Kittle, big game for him, 3 touchdowns, 33.7 points. Alvin Kamara 28.2. Dallas Goedert had finally had a game this year with 45.7. Devon Achane with 33.25. Marquise Brown 17.1. Christian Kirk 16.5. Russell Wilson 27.49. Joe Burrow with a 40.88. If you look on his depth, his let's see, nothing too special, but he has AJ Dillon had a fairly nice game, 20 carries, 76 yards and a rushing touchdown with a 21.1. Let's see who else. Zay Jones 11.3. Tyler Conklin with 19.7. So he has some guys that can kind of move around in there a little bit. We'll see what he does this next week.
Maybe he'll join for the second to get a second top spot like you and K Crawl you. So
yes. So in Clownheads 9, the top point getter was Mala Holmes with a 279.21.
I thought her name was going to be Swelsey. I thought she was going to change her team name to, or is it Quift? I'm not sure, but yeah, I think she was going to do something different with her name. But no, in all seriousness, she again wasn't part of our top 2 projections, and this is her first time into the top spot for Clownhead 9. So another newcomer here this week in week 5.
Excellent. So now we're going to move on to our Elite 8, setting some 2 starting quarterback setup here. So in Division A, Matt Karak with a 312.19. Division B, C Jet 437 with a 294.66. And the top point getter for the Elite 8 was in Division C, the Draft Guru with a 360.04. So his starting lineup was Josh Allen with a 42.71, Joe Burrow 44.48, Travis Etienne 48.9, Alvin Kamara 28.2, Cooper Kupp finally came back this week with a 22.8 points. Puku Naku 22.1 points. Tutu Atwell 8.9. He kind of went to the wayside with the Cooper Kupp coming back. Looked like he started 3 Rams receivers here. Adam Thielen with 30.7. Travis Kelce 43.7. Logan Thomas had a pretty big game this past week with 41.2 points. Joe Mixon 24.15 points. And Jameis Williams with a 2.2 points.
I feel like he put all the points in his lineup. Like he didn't have anything on the bench. Like he played his best points, for sure.
Quentin Irwin on his bench there.
Yeah,
with Tyler Boyd out. Had a pretty good game with 8 for 10 for 60 with 16 points there.
Yeah. But he's not very well. I guess 4-1 record. I guess he doesn't have to be that prepared for the bye weeks, but it doesn't feel like he's that prepared for the bye weeks.
So now we're going to go to Division D. Max Philly Fan 7 with a 267.44. Division E. Philly Rupper with 332.74. Division F. Slick the Ruler 287.96. Division G. Millery R0568 with 302.5. Division H. MR Ralston.
And so when I look at all 8 of these divisions, I'm looking here, and only M. Ralston was in our top 2 projections, and he was the a Final Four finisher for us last year. So there is a repeat, and he was the top point getter last week as well in Division H. But beyond that, we have all newcomers this week to the top spot, and then we didn't have any of the people in week 5 projected as the top 2 spots. So kind of ironic how it seems to have changed. And I'm just kind of taking a peek here. Draft Guru was a top point getter in week 3, and that Miley R was a top point getter in week 1. In their respective divisions, but not very much repeat. All new kind of teams this week in the Elite 8, year number 2. So kind of a good changeover. Seems like a changing of the guard.
All right, so we're gonna swing over to our Big 8 group here with starting 1 quarterback and 2 flexes. Our top point getters out of Division S, Steelers Nation, 6'6" with 332.65. And so,
okay, yeah, go ahead with their team.
So with she started Josh Fields with a 55.98, CMC 22.05. DJ Moore with a 58.7, Alan Lazard 7.8, Austin Hooper 7.1, George Pickens 33.85, Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry 9.9 points, Jacoby Myers with 23.25. Isaiah Pacheco, 19.4. Raheem Mostert, 20.8. Jared Goff, 35.94. Brock Purdy, 38.08 points.
When I take a look at this lineup, I guess I feel like we haven't seen too much George Pickens in these teams over the course of time, have we? Like, I feel like this is the first time we've seen the Pickens lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Tough spot. I just know. I mean, I guess that feels random, but that feels like one of the players that I noticed was different than I've seen before on these top spot teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to Division E, Turkleton 24-20 with a 308.25.
Oh, when we look at, I guess I'll go through SNT a little bit with. So Steelers Nation, we actually had her in the top spot when we projected this thing out, and this is her first time back, as the top point getter, and she had the top points out of the whole Big 8. Turkleton, we also had as the top point getter, and this is his first time into the top spot in this division. But one of kind of the interesting things is Noisy Silence was the top point getter all 4 weeks so far. So 4 weeks he just broke the streak, and we had Noisy Silence as a second or finishing second with our projections. So it's interesting that we've been really right on with these two divisions, so far.
Excellent. So we got Division U, Tweak KC, 286.35. Division.
And there, when we look at Division U, Tweak is now new to the list, first time in the top spot, and then also he wasn't projected to be in the top two when we did our projections preseason.
Division B, Vish 13S with a 330.34.
And when we look at Division B, with kind of a repeat of Division U, Vish 13, we haven't seen any sighting before this, and we didn't have him in the top two spots either in our projections.
Division W was David R1 with a 299.38.
So this will kind of tell you what we know. We did not project David R1 as a top two team. However, David R1 was the top point getter in week 2, week 3, and now week 5. So 3 times so far.
Division X, Shippa 19 to 325.3.
And so kind of the same thing as Division U and V. Shippa brand new to the charts and wasn't in the top 2 and hasn't been a top point getter until week 5.
Division Y, my division, Army Ranger 294.31.
See, I wouldn't have known that you were in that division because you haven't been a top point getter there in Division Y. No, I'm kind of kidding, but I'm sure you're kind of building for the future. But Army Ranger, we did have as the second projected team, but first time into the top spot this year so far in week 5.
Now, in Division Z, was beat out by a little more than a point for the top point in this group here. Marshall Gore with a 331.06 points.
And so Marshall Gore, I'm actually in Division Z, so I should do the same thing. You won't see me anywhere near this, I think, with my 0-5 record. So Marshall Gore, it wasn't projected to be in the top 2 spots, was the leading point getter in week 3. So returning here for a second time so far this year in that top point spot.
Excellent. I think that wraps up the overview for the week 5.
Yeah, that's the whole team. And I guess as the bye weeks have started, I guess I was kind of amazed at how the points didn't really go down. Do you think there was more offense this week, Justin, than there were in weeks?
Yeah, I think it's some of the teams are finally starting to click now. They're finally starting to figure out how to move the ball. Back-to-back weeks, you can see the Bears are figuring out some offense now.
Yeah, actually, now that we say that, I'm shocked that we didn't have any DJ Moores in any of those top teams.
Yeah.
Do we have DJ Moore at all?
I think one. I think one of those.
We're putting up a whole bunch of teams and nobody seemed to have DJ Moore. It's kind of crazy, actually, if you think about it, because the Justin Fields DJ Moore stack would have been, somebody should have got a lot of points out of that. I don't know. We did see Logan Thomas from that Thursday night game that, went off and kind of came out of nowhere. And any Zach Moss sightings? Did we see anybody with Zach Moss in the lineup?
I don't know.
I mean, that's another surprising one. That was a big number. And I think a lot of people would have Zach Moss on the bench, but I think in Clownheads, it was one of the people that was started a lot of times just because of the depth situation, and people were still starting him.
And I think we did have a one stack, and let's see, the Big 8 Group S with the Justin Fields and DJ Moore with the Steelers Nation. Nation, she had a stack of them.
Are you feeling like on your teams, Justin, that you have enough quarterbacks? Or do you think maybe having a lot of quarterbacks is pretty good?
I'd say probably a few of my new leagues that were just drafted in. I don't have enough. I don't have enough firepower there. So, I mean, I'm 2-3, and I think I'm 2-3 in my Big 8. And just because I just don't have the firepower, that extra 25 to 30 points from a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I drafted all kinds of receiver heavy in these leagues, and I feel like I'm 0-5 a lot of times because I went too heavy receiver and I had to just build. And, I'm kind of struggling a little bit to get it going, but, I guess I'm going to be in the Caleb Williams, Drake May sweepstakes, a lot of times and might have to make some moves. But do we play each other this week? Do we have any matchups do you know of off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. I would have to look more in depth.
Did we play last week? Did we have any games
I
against?
don't think so.
Yeah, I think this was maybe one of our first weeks, so we didn't have any head-to-heads. Justin's been hitting me hard. I guess one of the things that I'm most proud of is that Justin, got those 2 top spots this week in the redraft leagues. I mean, like that feels like something that we have to draft, and we're dynasty players. So when we kind of can cash in on a redraft with a whole different philosophy, playing against people that know exactly how we play. Like, like when we're drafting, they already know who we're going to pick. So there's not a whole lot of secrets with how we do it. And so it's interesting when you get those top spots, you really feel good. So glad that we're able to take those. I'm glad that you were able to take down those top spots this week in redraft.
Oh, Sam, I was likewise. And of course, someone lets CMC drop to me in the second round in the redraft 3 leagues. So I could have passed him up there. Should have gone first round.
Well, I would say, and you know what, I'm struggling in that. That's the only redraft that I'm struggling in. I think that's the one I'm struggling. I'm struggling in one. I have one really poor redraft. I guess it's best ball moves that I'm struggling in. But and I'm like, wow, this just isn't good. But excited for week 6. I mean, we're fast approaching, another day or two, and we'll be at week 6. Any parting words, Justin, before we wrap this show up and get ready for the week 6 waiver pickups?
I'll say this again. Just it seems like I'm a big donation in the Clownhead DraftKings lineups every week. Just come take my money. I'm finishing 8th, 9th, 10th since week 1 when I won it. But just come take my money. It's free.
Yeah, I think, I won my 1 week, so it's time to probably come and take the money, this week, I guess is what I would say. Come take the money this week, and I'm sure I'll be finishing near the bottom because I'll be all confident in that sort of thing. So, yeah, jump in that one. I mean, we have the Monday, Thursday slate. It's too late to get in for this Monday, Thursday, but we'll try to bring those back and kind of have some some smaller slates if we can build that as well, which is, just kind of build the excitement for something else to do and, to kind of bring some value to watching the games. And so try to keep it economical, but a lot of fun. And also want to encourage any comments. We always like those comments in the comments section. And if you have any questions, feel free to, jot them there. We like when the algorithms get that action as well. So without any further ado, we will look to see each of you guys next week after week 6, recapping the same items, and good luck as we approach week 6. And so for Justin, I'm Ed. So long.